Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders, all right, great millstone, who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel that are scattered abroad. All right, just a quick, I wanted to make this video about a dream that I had involving my sister who passed. Okay, and it was this tree, you know, and shalom to the hopeful elect, to the speckled bird out there, the Israelite foreigner. I like to say shalom to you. It's lucky. Let me do something just real quick. So yeah, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. And what made me think about this was, I caught a screenshot. Actually, I can show you probably. I mean, I don't have anything to hide. It's one of these screenshots back here that I had. Yeah, it was something like that. But that wasn't necessarily the one. But that's how the background looked, the place that I went in my dream. And there was a huge tree. And I'll show you a better example of this, like here. It was a bigger tree than this, but it was like on the water, and there was a boat like that. But it wasn't red. It was like a white boat or a brown boat. And the water was beautiful. But there was a huge tree and there was a boat, and somebody was taking us to this tree. Now, you get to see all my screenshots. Anyway, that's cool with me. But, yeah, no, like I said, like I was saying, it was around the time when, my sister had passed. It was just before my sister had passed, and I believed that the dream was letting me know that she was going to pass. She was in and out of the hospital, all types of health problems, over the past years before that. And, I spent a lot of time with my sister, and I was just reflecting on that. And I'm like, man, what was that tree? And I had this dream. It was around 2018, right? Because my sister passed around 2018, November. Because I remember that was the first time that I went out to preach. And before I went out to preach, I was always it was all types of dreams that the Lord would give me. And they were vivid. They were vivid dreams. And I'd just be trying to interpret them the whole time and searching for answers, But I wasn't into the scriptures like that. It's just that, I was watching. I was watching the truth, like men of Valor brothers. That first I started with the Men of Valor brothers, and then they'd always talk about, uh, the apostles, and then I end up following one of the main channels of the apostles. It was a long time ago, but and I was listening, but I was just, I was still in the world or whatever, and the Lord would give me just vivid dreams of like World War III, like chariots, huge chariots coming out of the sky, like the Lord coming in a chariot. Dreams of, the tree of life. Dreams of just vivid dreams. Oh yeah, there's a dream that I was being chased by two lions with my daughter. She had been born and she was in my hands, and these lions were chasing me through the house. And come to find out, the other lion, like there was a male lion and a female lion. I'm sorry, I get to start off with this because it's gonna lead into what I'm trying to say. I remember there was a male lion and a female lion, and there was a house full of children. I must have been watching over them or something because my daughter was there, and these lions came in the house. And no matter what door everybody ran through, I was like, run through this door, run through that door. The lions they always came in, and the other lion, the female lion, its face started turning different. People that I knew that had passed on or something like that in the world. And then, that was towards the end of the dream. That was after we'd been chased all through the house, but, and we were being chased, and we were backed into a corner, and all the kids were like against the wall around the room that we were in, and the lions were surrounding me. They were looking at the kids, and they were walking around me and looking at me. Then that face started glitching, and then like the scaredness or the afraid we wasn't afraid anymore. It's like I automatically knew that these were good lions. They were trying to tell me something. It's like I knew that I was in a dream or something, like at the end. I don't know. But I pondered upon these dreams. I figured wisdom was chasing me. The Lord was chasing me, telling me it's time to come into this truth, because I'd been poking my head in there, and I was running, I guess I was running from the Lord. And, that's basically what I perceive about those dreams. That dream, before this dream had happened that I'm telling you about, in which, long story short, okay. All right, we were, it was me and my sister, and there was some guide, and we were in a boat, right? We were in this boat, and somebody was taking us somewhere, but I think they were taking us to this tree, which was a huge tree. Like, it was the most beautiful tree you ever seen. Like, and it was like gold, or it was it had fireflies everywhere. It's fireflies or whatever. I don't know if they were fireflies or if they were orbs, or I don't know what they were, but they were just little balls of light, golden, yellowish, and they were just everywhere. They're just flying around, going in and out of the tree, floating around the top of the surface of the water, bouncing off of it this way and that way. And it was just a beautiful place, And yeah, so we were in this boat, and like when we looked into the water, it was like different places that we'd been. We'd be like, hey, you remember we used to, we go here, or that's our old school back there, or a bunch of memories coming out of the water. But it was perceived that there was like buildings down there, but I don't think it was buildings. I think it was just like a reflection of life, after all this time that I've pondered on this dream. It may have been just, a reflection of our lives. And so we were being taken to, it was like we were floating through the water and seeing all types of reflections of life or whatever. It's like the waters were living or something, living waters, right? But anyway, when we came to this tree, right? And there's fireflies, and it was serene. It was like this sound, and this beautiful sound, this beautiful feeling, right? And there's people playing, like people were playing like on the beach. Oh yeah, there was like a beach or something. You know, people were playing, running around, and you know, people were swimming. And come to find out, uh, we started playing, and you know, and we were in the water. Come to find out, like you didn't have to breathe in the water. Like you could just go down there and play and still be breathing like you regularly breathe, right? And I remember the fireflies were bouncing off the water and things like that, and people were trying to catch the fireflies, or it was something that happened to where the fireflies started chasing us or something like that. And I was like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. We just go. It was like they was chasing us, and we were just having so much fun. It was just such a fun time, and we went into the water because we know the fireflies didn't go into the water, and we was just down there kicking it, and then all of a sudden, I noticed that my sister wasn't with me in the water, and I came back out of the water, and when I came out of the water, all those fireflies were going into her mouth. They were like, her mouth was open, and they were all just, it was like hundreds of them were just flying inside of her mouth. And then I woke up, you know, and after all these years, I perceived that, because not even a week or two after I had that dream, my sister passed. And I told my mama that dream. I told my little brother, but I never got to tell anybody else. Yeah, obviously I told my girlfriend who I was with at the time. But yeah, and I never got to tell my sister that dream because I didn't get to see her before it happened. You know, and part of the reason that I didn't get to see her is because I was being ignorant. I was, I didn't like her boyfriend. I didn't want to be around them. I was coming into the truth. I was, watching more videos, and that's the thing about it. Whenever you come into this truth, man, like it ain't about like if I do anything to take that back and to be able to say, but yeah, so when you come into this truth, it's not about like being extra mean to people, you know. But anyway, that's what happened, and I perceived I perceived that that was the tree of life. Okay, because when I came back out the water and it was going into my sister, and then she had passed, and I'd always pondered up on that dream. I'm like, why didn't they get me? And I started this morning. I started looking up stuff, and it's like they probably wanted to get me, but it just wasn't my turn. I've had thoughts like this of like, well, they all just went into her, and the feeling wasn't like bad or anything. I thought everything was still good. Like I never once in the dream felt like, oh my goodness, like until the very end, like whenever those start going into her like that, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, and I woke up, and I've always pondered that, like they didn't get me, and I looked up the tree of life, and it's a few times in the scriptures, obviously, especially in the book of Genesis. I just typed in tree of life, and here goes a few scriptures here in Genesis, right? Genesis 2, and And 8 and 9, it says, And the Lord power planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord power to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst. Yeah, whatever, man. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. All right, so the tree of life also in the midst of the garden. I almost feel like like I got to see the tree of life. Like people could have went inside this tree. Like it was so big. You know, you see that movie Avatar and you see that big tree, you know, that it was likened onto that tree, man. You just knew that you was safe wherever you know, everything was cool. Everything was cool, man. Like it wasn't like you didn't have to worry no more. And wherever we was, it was like paradise, man. It was like paradise, man. It was beautiful. The most beautiful golden. It just felt like the tree was pure gold or something. It was like the water was so pure and so crystal clear, and like I didn't even have to breathe in the water, and you know, it's like you're floating, and people were playing and carrying on and laughing. So, and I really didn't know too much about it. I start looking it up, and there's one here in Revelations 2 and 7. It says, He that hath an ear, we'll start at, yeah. It says, He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Now, I'm not saying that that's where I went, and that's what I seen in my dream. But I know my sister's in a better place because she, you know, the scriptures tell you that, you know, success is not measured in years, you know, pretty much like the Lord don't measure that. Like, I think there's a scripture he said, in a short time, he did what, in a short time, he pleased the Lord, basically. Therefore, he quickly took him away. I feel like that's what happened to my sister, you know. And I know that she's in a better place. And, you know, it just, you know, the Lord was showing me these dreams and like letting me know that it's time to go preach, you know. Because after I had that dream, that was the first time I went out to go preach, man, in the middle of the snow, in the middle of the winter, man. You know, ain't with nobody walking around or nothing. I just did it anyway. I know I wasn't ready or nothing. I didn't think I was ready. But I knew that that's what the Lord wanted me to do, you know. But yeah. That's my dream. And you know, another thing, you know, when the Lord calling you to do something, you know, you're gonna have to do it. You know, remember Jonah. I kind of feel like whenever that lion was chasing me through the house and I started learning the scriptures a little more, learning about the story of Jonah, and I started like, man, goodness, like I was trying to run from the Lord pretty much, but he gonna get me to do what he want me to do, you know. And oh man, I don't know where I was doing. I had some stuff pulled up here I wanted to show you. There it goes, this picture. And then I looked up the tree of life, and it says it's a widespread ancient archetype found in mythology, religion, and philosophy, symbolizing interconnectedness, wisdom, and in the afterlife. It represents a connection between heaven, earth, and the underworld, often depicted as a cosmic sacred tree. In biology, it is a metaphor for the evolution of all species from the common ancestor. It says key context of the tree of life, mythology and religion, known as a symbol of immortality and wisdom in various cultures, including Norse, Celtic, and Abrahamic traditions. Garden of Eden. It often represents a connection between the spiritual and the physical worlds. And biology A, or the phylogenetic tree, used to visualize the evolutionary relationship between living and extinct organisms, with all life descending from a single, last universal common ancestor. All right, it says symbolism. It is often used to represent longevity, resilience, and growth. Natural symbol. An African baobab tree is often referred to as the tree of life due to its ability to store water, providing vital resources for people and animals amid in arid climates. I think that wasn't the only one that I'd looked. Let's go back. I said a dream of the tree of life, right? Dreaming of the tree of life generally symbolizes profound spiritual growth, interconnectedness, and a search for balance, often acting as a bridge between heaven and earth. It frequently represents personal transformation, divine wisdom. And that's the thing, like around that time, that was before I came into the truth. That was I'd been listening a little bit, I pop up on a video here and now, but I wasn't really, so I believe that, it was basically let me know, like, I'm on a journey now, basically. Like, it's not my time yet. I got to do what I got to do. I have a job to do. Basically, that's how I feel as I think about it, It says, it frequently represents personal transformation, divine wisdom, and a return to the inner self, sometimes evoking feelings of euphoria, magic, or a direct message from the universe. The tree often represents a connection between the divine, providing spiritual nourishment, and a center for one's life, personal growth and life cycles. It symbolizes the stages of life, from growth to death and rebirth, often reflecting resilience and wisdom. So I don't want to go too far. I'm already like 20. I didn't want this video to be no more than like 15 minutes. So, but that's what, those are a series of dreams that I've had. And, I'm not saying that was the tree of life, but that's what it made me think about. And there was like fireflies, man. There was like, it was the most beautiful place ever, man. I can't really describe it, man. I can't really describe it. But I know that, after that, and I was talking about how, after that, I never got to tell my sister about that dream. I never got to go back over there. Because I was acting stupid, and I want to talk more upon that because, hey, man, when you come into this truth, if you're not careful, if you really don't understand, you will burn bridges. Like people will teach you that, like F your family members type of shit. The scriptures say, who is my mother, who is my brother, who is my sister? Yeah, we know that. Right? But when you start pushing people away, you'll highly regret it, man. And you won't know it. When you come to this truth, it's like you get a zeal on you and you started being mean. You start being mean to your family members, to people that you don't really necessarily have to be that mean to. I could see if they was a demon or something, or, you start burning bridges and stuff, man. Don't get caught in that, because guess what, man? The Lord, whatever your lot is, hey, the first thing in your lot, all right, obviously it's to fear the Lord, man. All right, and when you fear the Lord, you got to be careful with how you treat people. That's a huge thing. Careful with your mouth. Careful with your emotions, your how you're moving, your conduct when you're on and off the camera. All right, you got to be mindful of that in the fear of the Lord. Like whenever I came into the truth, man, my mouth was just, I was acting like I knew this, that, and the other, trying to teach people this, that, and the other. I was mad whenever they didn't understand me, and I cut certain family members off and didn't want to be around them, and forced this thing that was in my mind as to, you know, you're not gonna make it, and somehow I'm gonna make it over you, and all these things like that. But man, that's not the case. That's not the case, man. I'd do anything to be able to say bye to my sister, bro. Don't get caught in that situation, man. All right, don't let men teach you to hate your family members. All right, you only got one mother, man. You only got one father. Don't push them away like some men have done. Don't. I caught myself pushing my mother away. Don't do that to yourself, man. You will highly regret it. Anyway, with that, I like to say shalom.